I wanted to roll this clip of a position of agreement I found with Michelle Obama. Maybe unexpected to everyone, but I thought this was actually quite an interesting comment from the former First Lady. So let's take a listen.
If I listen to ESPN for an hour, it's like watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the same drama and they're yelling at each other and they don't get along. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other
he'd
talk
be a
show
great
host.
Real Housewife.
He would be.
Right.
Right?
It would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference? It's just, it's just sociological drama. If I listen to ESPN for an hour,
so
it's like
let me
watching
just share this tab instead, because guess what? I actually wrote a story very similar to this for The Federalist in 2019. So if anything, Michelle Obama, maybe she read it. That seems slightly unlikely to me. But I actually think this is a really interesting point. And at the same time, I think it's somewhat undignified, correct me if I'm wrong, undignified, first of all, for the former First Lady of the United States to have a podcast. I say that as a podcaster. For the former First Lady of the United States to have a podcast, which she does with her brother, and obviously she had her husband on recently, it just feels undignified. It feels like it is below, especially because it's not like some type of special podcast. It's them sitting around in t-shirts and jeans and talking about the Real Housewives. And I'm saying this again as somebody who is a podcaster and agrees with Michelle Obama on this very important take. This was the headline of my Federalist story all the way back in 2019, which was assigned to me, so I can't take full credit. But if Real Housewives fought physically instead of verbally, it'd be WrestleMania. I watched all of WrestleMania, and this brilliant nugget occurred to me about halfway through it, and I think it's completely true. And there's something about the emotional dynamics of the Housewives. So if you're watching the Housewives as a woman, the primary pull is the emotional dynamics of the group. If you are watching football as a man, it's not that the emotional dynamics are irrelevant, but you are primarily pulled in by the physical dynamics of the competition. And to me, that's such a perfect distillation, oddly enough, of the male and female brain, that for women, here you have this utterly low risk, with a couple of exceptions, but this utterly low risk arena for emotional warfare. And for men, in the case of sports, you have this relatively low risk, it's not literal war, arena for physical dynamics, physical competition. So the Housewives are emotional competition, and don't get me started. I don't think that this necessarily applies to The Bachelor. I've always said the Housewives are far superior to The Bachelor. If you want to watch real reality TV, give up on The Bachelor, go to The Real Housewives, start with season 4 of The Real Housewives of New York City. That would be my recommendation, or start from the beginning of Vanderpump Rules and just clear a weekend. Don't move off the couch. Get a cooler for water, electrolytes. That's how you should handle whichever weekend you're able to book out for it. But I thought it was somewhat interesting after all of the sort of gender fluid mania of the last 10 years to have Michelle Obama, I think, making a shockingly salient point here, dare I say, about the actually really, I think, fair illustration that we see in both of these things. And actually, Jerry O'Connell had a great show on Bravo for men at one point that I think made this very clear, because it was sort of ironic and funny that the men were also pulled in to the emotional dynamics of the Housewives and of Bravo. That was like genuinely the shtick of the show, is that it's funny that the men are getting pulled into this. I don't think, again, I think emotions are an important part of sports too. But I also think that the primary, let's say, appeal of both genres really clearly illustrates where we're coming from as men and women. And to hear it from Michelle Obama herself, the former First Lady herself, I'm not going to go in any further into exploring that particular thread or any jokes that may come of it. But Michelle Obama I think you were correct about the Real Housewives. Over the years, I hope I've been clear about this. I'm not just pro-birth, I'm pro-life. And being pro-life, of course, means standing with mothers not only before their baby is born, but long after. And that is exactly why I partner with Preborn. Preborn is awesome. They don't just save babies, they make motherhood abundantly possible. They provide free ultrasounds and share the truth of the gospel with women in crisis. And then they stay. How great is that? With real practical help. They are there, including financial support for up to 2 years after the baby is born. I say again, how awesome is that? And here's where you can make a difference. Just $28 provides a free life-saving ultrasound. One chance for a mother to see her baby. And when she does, she is twice as likely to choose life. It is incredibly powerful. Preborn is trying to save 70,000 babies this year. This is what true Christ-centered compassion looks like, not just for the baby, but for the mother too. So don't just say you're pro-life, live it. Help save babies and support mothers today. Go to preborn.com/Emily or call 855-601-2229. That's preborn.com/Emily.